Let me ask you something. When did surviving start to feel like failing? And when did struggling mean you were off track, instead of on the front lines of your breakthrough? We talk about goals, growth, and healing, but we don't talk enough about what it costs to become the version of you that can carry it all. See, the truth is, you're not just building a brand or chasing a dream or trying to heal. You're fighting for your future, fighting for your peace, fighting for your voice, and fighting to break cycles that have owned your bloodline for generations. And that makes you a modern-day warrior. But not the sword-swinging movie scene type. I'm talking about the ones who wake up every day and choose growth on purpose, who choose to get back up after life hits hard, who bleed, cry, doubt, and still go anyway. That's warrior energy. And this episode is your mirror, your battle anthem, and your strategy plan, because you weren't built for ease. You were built for the battle. Are you ready? I am. I'm Jonah. I'm your person. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Challenge Accepted with Jonah C., the podcast where we redefine strength, face life's toughest moments head on, and talk about what it really takes to be built for battle. Let's start with the truth behind the armor. Some of the fiercest battles you'll ever fight are the ones no one will clap for. No spotlight, no applause, no highlight reel. Just you, facing doubt at 2 a.m. Just you, healing from wounds that no one knows you have. And just you, choosing to rise again. See, we love the warrior aesthetic these days. Quotes on courage, reels about discipline, memes about mindset. But let's talk about the real warrior moments, the ones that don't make the feed, the ones that won't trend. Like showing up to work whilst your world is falling apart. Like walking away from something that felt familiar, but wasn't healthy. Like saying, I need help, when pride screams, handle it alone. That's warrior work. Not loud, not flashy, but life-changing. The battle that no one sees is the one that actually builds you. Because it's in those quiet wars, those internal fights for peace and clarity and growth, that you earn your armor. And people think strength is never struggling. That's furthest from the truth. Because real strength is struggling and still choosing to show up anyway. Let me say that again for the people who've been battling silently. Real warriors break, but they don't stay broken. Real warriors cry, but they don't quit. And real warriors doubt, but they keep moving anyway. You don't always get a trophy for surviving, but let me tell you what you do get. Wisdom, resilience, and power that cannot be bought, borrowed, or faked. And that kind of strength, it's not just for you. There's someone out there who needs your scars. Someone who will one day survive because you did. So don't downplay your silent battles. Don't apologize for the days you're in your head, fighting to find yourself again. That's what warriors do. They go to war, and not just with the world, but with everything that tries to stop their growth. You want to build a bold life? It starts by honoring the battles no one sees. So like in every episode, here's your first challenge. Take 5 minutes today, just 5, and name a battle you've been quietly fighting. Then name one thing you've done this week to keep moving anyway. Write it, voice memo it, text it to someone who gets it. Because silent victories deserve to be seen. even if only by you. Now, let's talk about armor. Not the metal kind, the mental kind. In this world, distraction is everywhere. Comparison is loud, and temptation's dressed up like opportunity. And burnout? It's knocking at your door weekly. So, how do you protect your mind, your purpose, and your energy? Discipline. Not the hustle culture kind that burns you out trying to be a machine. I'm talking about the sacred self-defense, boundaries, focus, reps, routines, habits that keep your power from leaking out. You know what most people think is strength? Saying yes to everything, going nonstop, keeping up with the grind, the trends, the noise. But warriors know better. Saying no is a weapon. Protecting your peace is a strategy. And discipline isn't punishment, it's protection. It's telling the world, I'm serious about where I'm going. You don't need to say yes to every invite. You don't need to scroll until 2 a.m. for inspiration. You don't need to prove your worth through output and exhaustion. Your discipline is proof that you're moving on purpose. Because let's be real, dreams don't just require vision, they require structure. They require you to choose what matters most over what looks good now. And here's what most people miss. The stronger your discipline, the less drama you attract. You stop getting pulled into chaos when you already have a clear calendar. You stop second-guessing your goals when you're consistently showing up for them. And you stop needing to chase validation when you've already built habits that already confirm your worth. Warriors don't just feel ready, they train for readiness. In private, in silence, and when no one's watching. So if you're tired of being tossed around by emotions, burnout, and distractions, it's time to build some armor. Not walls, but discipline. Not ego, but execution. Not perfection, but protection. And here's challenge number 2. Take a real, unfiltered look at your daily rhythm. What habits are making you stronger? And what patterns are leaving you exposed? Now, choose one small discipline this week that'll act like armor. Maybe it's a set bedtime. No screens the first hour of your day. Protecting 30 minutes of focus time daily. Or saying no to one thing that drains you. It doesn't have to be big. It just has to be yours. Because every warrior has rituals. And yours just might save your sanity. All right. Let's talk about healing as a warrior's superpower. You want to know something that takes real strength? Healing. Not pretending, not pushing through, not suppressing everything and calling it discipline. Actual healing. Because anyone can armor up and fake it for a while. But only a warrior chooses to sit with the wound, to name it, to face it, to feel it. And then to rise from it with wisdom, not bitterness. We grew up thinking strength meant hiding pain. Be strong. Don't let them see you cry. Shake it off. Keep it moving. But that kind of survival mode only works for so long. Eventually, the hurt you avoid becomes the habit that holds you back. Unhealed pain turns into patterns. And patterns shape your life, your relationships, your decisions, your voice. Here's the truth. The strongest warriors aren't the ones who hide their pain. They're the ones who transformed it. They turned betrayal into boundaries, grief into purpose, anxiety into awareness, insecurity into fuel. And that's not weakness. That's alchemy. But here's the thing. Healing isn't cute. It's not a spa day and a journal entry. It's messy. It's inconvenient. It brings up stuff you thought you buried years ago. And that's why so many avoid it. But hear me on this. You cannot build a powerful life on top of a wounded foundation, because sooner or later, the cracks will show. So, if you're serious about evolving, if you're serious about leadership, love, legacy, then healing can't be optional. It's the work beneath the work. It's the growth that no one claps for, but everyone feels when you walk into the room. And people can tell when you've done the healing. It's in your peace. It's in your presence. It's in the way you don't react the way you used to. And healing is what makes your power sustainable. Because it's one thing to be strong in a moment. It's another to be whole for a lifetime. So here's challenge number 3. Ask yourself one bold question today. What pain am I still pretending doesn't affect me? Then sit with that. Don't run. Journal. Talk to someone you trust. Take one small healing action this week. Therapy, a boundary, a conversation, or maybe just rest. Because sometimes the bravest thing a warrior can do is pause long enough to heal. All right, let's talk about something that shows up every time you try to grow. Resistance. You know exactly what I'm talking about. You finally decide to go after that goal, and suddenly you're tired, distracted, overthinking, doubting yourself, and worse yet, procrastinating. That's not a coincidence. That's resistance. And it's not loud, it's subtle. It sounds like, let me just clean that first. I'll start tomorrow. I need to do more research. I'm not ready yet. You ever hear that voice? And by the way, that's not a message from the universe, like in volumes 1 and 2. That hesitation that creeps in the moment you commit to doing something uncomfortable but important, that's resistance doing its job. And here's the kicker. It doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It usually means you're doing something right. Because resistance doesn't show up when you're coasting. It shows up when you're stepping towards something real. So the question becomes, how do we beat it? Well, not by waiting for motivation and not being perfect, but by taking action anyway, especially when you don't feel ready. I'm telling you now, half the battle is showing up. When resistance says, don't record that video, hit record anyway. When it says, don't reach out, send that message. When it says, don't go to the gym, you put your shoes on and walk out the door. That small act of doing the opposite builds power. And it's like a muscle. The more reps you get in, the less that resistance runs your life. And let's be real, it's never going away completely. Even people at the top of their game still fight it. The difference is they don't take it personally. They expect it. They have systems, or like we talked about in the episode Cause and Effect, they have a predetermined, deliberate, and purposeful response. They move anyway. So if you're feeling that internal friction, don't use it as a reason to quit. Use it as a signal. You're right on time. So let's talk about challenge number 4. Pick something you've been resisting this week. Maybe something small, maybe something big. Set a timer and do it for 5 minutes. So just 5 minutes. Because usually, once you start, momentum takes over. But if you keep waiting to feel ready, you'll stay stuck. So let's train ourselves to act before the doubt gets too loud. Now, let's get into something that's not flashy, but it wins wars. Consistency. I know, it doesn't sound sexy, and it's not a viral moment or a breakthrough epiphany. But let me tell you something straight. Consistency is how warriors are built. You don't get strong by hitting the gym once. You don't heal by journaling one time. And you certainly don't win by showing up only when it feels good. You win by showing up again and again and again, even when it's boring, even when nobody's watching, even when progress feels invisible. That's what separates the people who talk about change from the people who live it. I've seen so many folks start strong, fired up, all in, challenge accepted, posting every day, doing all the right things. But then life hits. Work gets stressful. Motivation fades. Results take longer than expected. And they ghost their own goals. The truth is, motivation is a great spark, but it's a terrible fuel source. If you're only showing up when you feel inspired, you'll be stuck in a cycle of starting over. So, what carries you through the hard days? Discipline, routine, purpose. You don't need to have perfect days. You need to have repeatable days. Even if your effort is 60% today, that's still a rep. And even if your mind isn't in it, showing up keeps the muscle warm. And that's the difference. Success isn't one massive leap. It's a bunch of small steps stacked over time, including baby steps, which we talked about in season 1. I want you to think about the version of you who already has what you've been working toward. That version, they didn't get there with giant, perfect moves. They got there with steady action, simple things done daily. You want to be a warrior in this world? Consistency is your armor. So let's talk about challenge number 5, the non-negotiable 3. Pick 3 simple, repeatable actions that you can commit to this week. Not huge ones, small ones that build trust with yourself. It could be 10 minutes of movement, a journal entry every morning, or one intentional check-in with your goals every night. Whatever they are, lock them in, write them down, and stick to them. No excuses. Because when life gets chaotic, and it will, your habits are what hold the line. Okay, let's talk about something we all wrestle with. Pressure. Pressure to succeed, pressure to be further along, pressure to have the answers, to move faster, to never miss a beat. But here's the truth. We weren't built to carry all of that. And most of the time, the pressure we feel, it's not even coming from the universe. It's coming from us, our expectations, our comparisons, our self-talk. Let me ask you something straight up. Are you being driven by your purpose or chased by your pressure? Because there is a huge difference. Purpose pulls you forward. It's rooted in meaning. Pressure pushes you around. It's rooted in fear. When you're living from pressure, everything feels urgent. You're constantly trying to prove something, and there's no peace, just performance. But when you shift into purpose, the energy changes. You start moving with clarity and not panic. You stop comparing and start creating. You stop rushing and start building on your own terms. Now look, I get it. The world moves fast. Social media makes it feel like if you're not blowing up this week, you're falling behind. But hear me on this. You're not late. You're not on their timeline. You're on yours. And your purpose? It doesn't need to go viral. It just needs to go deep. So what's going to keep you showing up isn't hype. It's meaning. It's conviction. It's the why underneath the grind. So, if you've been overwhelmed, if you've been burning out trying to keep up, pause. Check in with your purpose. Ask yourself, why does this matter to me? Who am I doing this for? And what's the bigger picture here? Because when you're anchored in purpose, pressure loses its grip. All right, you ready for challenge number 6? Good. Take 15 minutes today. No distractions, just you and your thoughts. Write out your real why, not the polished version, the real one, the one that makes you emotional, the one that reminds you who you're fighting for. And next time pressure shows up, read it back. Let your purpose lead, not your panic. You've got this. Let's end this on a truth that too many people forget. You already have what it takes. You're not waiting to become worthy. You're not one course away or one follower count away or one breakthrough away. You're ready now. And that doesn't mean you don't have room for growth. Of course you do. We all do. But growth doesn't equal lack. You're not broken just because you're in process. You're evolving. You're unfolding. You're building strength by living through it, not skipping over it. And sometimes you need someone to just say it plainly. You are capable. You are equipped. You have survived things you didn't think you could, and you're still standing. That's not weakness. That's warrior energy. This whole time, you thought you had to become someone else to level up, but this season isn't about becoming someone new. It's about remembering who you already are. You're already brave, already smart, already powerful. You just need to trust the version of yourself a little louder than you trust the fear. So from here on out, I want you to move like someone believes in themselves. No more waiting for permission. No more holding your breath. The next level isn't out there somewhere. It's already in you. Listen, warrior. You're not weak for being tired. And you're not behind because you haven't figured it all out. And you're not broken because you feel everything deeply. You are strong because you still show up. And that's what makes you different. That's what makes you dangerous. You're not here to play small, shrink down, or wait for permission. You're here to build something real. Through the fear, through the fight, through the fire. So the next time life tries to tell you that you're not enough, remind it who you are. A warrior in progress, a storm in motion, a masterpiece still under construction, but already moving mountains. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to stay in the fight. And trust me, you're winning more than you know. If you liked what you heard, share it with somebody who is battling in silence. Drop a like, a subscribe, and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep building, keep breathing, keep battling. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for coming back, and have a great week.